And good afternoon. Welcome back to Tech20 Tuesday. Late in March, it's almost 20 degrees outside. It's hard to believe, but it's a great one here in Fredericton, and I'm sure in other places around the province as we enjoy this very first day of spring. My name's Jeff Whipple. I'm the host of Tech20 Tuesdays, and today, really excited to have with me my colleague from School District 8, Mark Bates. Mark is a technology mentor in School District 8 down in St. John and the schools down there. And today we're going to, in the next week or two, we're going to have a look at some of the portal resources. Today we're going to specifically have a look at MySite. And MySite's kind of cool. It's got lots of really neat ways for students to be able to collaborate and share and connect. And so Mark today is going to be taking us through some of those resources and sort of giving us a tutorial on how we can use those and our students can use those in their classrooms. So Mark, welcome to Tech20 Tuesday.
Thanks, Jeff. Glad to be here. And hello, everyone. I'm Mark Bates, and as Jeff said, I'm a technology mentor here in District 8. And I'm coming to you today from our Mentor Center. Today, I thought just do a brief presentation to MySite, and to see from the subheading, collaboration, consolidation, personalization. Those are three key aspects that MySite brings to the end of being your student or administrator through the portal. So how do we access MySite? Well, one of the ways that we access MySite is by going to the portal itself. And I'll scroll that over. So again, you log on to the portal through http://portal.mdeb.ca. And then once you've logged in, and this is just a screenshot, just in case we were experiencing connectivity issues, you'll notice that again it indicates that you're logged in because you have the welcome message with your username. Also, you'll notice highlighted here with a little arrow pointing to it is MySite. And also beside it is one called My Links. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But we'll talk about My Links. So once you click that, you end up coming to a page which again, I'll just click on a link here to open it up. So you end up coming to MySite, and there's two tabs, My Home and My Profile. And again, this looks, I took the screenshot this morning, so it's exactly the same. I'm sorry, I see there's a message here. Oh, sound is breaking up here.
Yeah, it sounds like maybe you're having a little connectivity issue, Mark.
Okay, sorry, but what I'll do is I'll plug in.
Actually, now it sounds okay.
Now it sounds okay?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I was just sitting a little too close to the laptop. if it does break up.
I'll just jump right in.
Okay, great. Okay, so. This is again, there's the two different tabs, and we're on MySite. So again, two tabs, My Profile and My Home. And I set up this slide just to kind of show the differences between the two. And they are the two biggest ones that are noted in green and red here. My Profile is a public view. So anything that is under the My Profile tab is accessible, and when I say public, that means logged in users. So again, that would be anyone with an MBED login, teacher, administrator, or provincial employee could have access and see what's contained here. Now, we'll talk a little bit about how you can customize this area, and there are some privacy type settings that you can add, and I'll also explain how information is added here. My Home differs in that it's a private area. So the privacy settings are hiked up, and if someone came to your MySite they wouldn't even see a tab that says My Home. All they would see is My Profile. I'll show you an example of that in a moment. So that's the largest lesson here is My Profile is public, My Home is private. Now, both allow for a certain level of personalization. The My Home provides the greatest amount of personalization. And in the next slide, we're going to talk about how you can customize that area. And through color coding and changing the transparency, I've tried to show that personalization in the My Profile tab, there's less of an ability to do that. There are some privacy settings that you can access, but for the most part, things such as themes and the ability to manipulate web parts and the information that's there, it's more difficult. Now, collaboration exists in both. The ability to transfer information to other users or have other users come to your My Profile and pick up a shared document. The same as having a private document and then turning it out into a collaborative area in your My Profile, or your ability to create subsites in work groups, which again we'll talk about in more detail in a moment. Now, consolidation happens in both areas, but it leans a little bit more towards the My Home tab and the ability for you to bring in information. And by being the administrator, I mean that you function much as someone at the province who controls the portal. You control, My Site is your own site collection. It's your own grouping of web pages, wikis, or blogs, or sub-sites, or lists that you create, and you have basically total control over them. You can invite people in. At the same time, you can keep people out. You can add documents. Create lists, libraries, surveys. You can create pages, subpages, workspaces. You can invite people to those areas. You can upload documents, images, audio. You can create and customize web parts, and I'll talk a little bit about web parts just in a general way in a moment. And you can change the navigation or the theme, the color scheme, and fonts that you use under My Home. And again, this is a private area that it stays private unless you go to share something, or in the case of creating a sub-site or, like, let's say, a working space where you're inviting people in, that would be where we maybe switch a little bit. But again, My Home, you are the administrator. Now that's a lot different than when we look at the other tab, under my site, my profile. But I think what we'll do is just take a look at, using mine as an example. If I click the tab My Home, I get this warning message because, as you'll see in a moment, I'm pulling in some information that's coming from non-secure sources into the portal, which is a secure area. So it's just prompting me if I want to view web page content that was delivered securely. And I'm saying right now that I'm fine. And what you see, again, this My Home is going to differ from your home or another colleague's or a student's home, because in this case, I've gone in, I've customized my area. And I was playing around with some applications that I could see students and teachers using. So if I was in the classroom, my home under my site might look quite a bit different than it does right now. So really what you're seeing is some experimental things I'm working around with. What we can see here is this is a web part that displays an image. Also, this is a web part that displays my Twitter feed. And down below is a web part that pulls in the feed from my website, which is displayed in this image up here. So that's one way that you can utilize the My Home tab or My Home site or subsite. And again, I'm doing some research lately in regards to my site, and they often talk about it as being part of a virtual learning environment. And again, it really blends nicely when you think of the virtual schools initiative that's going on, moreover in our demonstration schools, but in other schools that are under that classification as well. School portal sites, district portal sites, again, nice blend where all these different components under the same shell, the portal or SharePoint, and creating learning environments for students and teachers. Now, I know I'm talking about this from the perspective of a teacher or, in my case, a mentor, but the student sites, and I have a screenshot of a student site, students have access to this as well. So once they log in, if they were to go and click my site at the top of the screen, they actually get prompted to create a site. And it's a very straightforward process. They just basically have to pick that they want to start a site and what language they wish that site to be in, and follow the prompts to create it. And by default, it's going to create a My Home tab and a My Profile tab, and it's going to populate that with certain web parts and information by default. So you can get up and get going using this very quickly without the need for having to learn a lot of ins and outs. So again, looking at the My Home tab, just to orient yourself a little bit, again, we see the breadcrumb area that takes you back to the main portal welcome area. I have access to my logout and my settings information here, but we have a navigation area apart from the horizontal navigation of our going into my sites, My Home, and My Profile. We also have the ability in our vertical navigation to see some areas. Now, private documents, shared documents, and shared pictures. Anything that says shared is going to be automatically, if you add something into these two areas, it's automatically going to appear under My Profile. Again, we'll be examining that a little bit more in a moment. Anything added into private documents, anything added there is, again, just for your viewing. We can go in, we can look at some of the information that is displayed. We can edit some of this information in here that's going to be displayed under My Profile. Again, we'll be looking at that in detail in a moment. Under Site Actions, so if we want to customize this page, so by default, the page did not come this way. I went in and made changes. And one of the changes people often want to go into is customize the look. And the easiest way to do that is by changing the color scheme. So we're going to go into Site Actions. And when we click Site Actions, we see a couple of things that you don't normally see on portal pages unless you have full control permissions. And unless you're an administrator or a mentor or maybe an SDR, you probably wouldn't see those. So from here, we can do three basic things. We can create, and again it says here, a new library being like a document library, like these areas down here. So think of it as folders. We can change, we can add new web parts to a page, or we can create pages, wikis, and subsites. We can edit this page, and when I click that, when we come back, you'll see that editing the page, if you've ever used Blogger, WordPress, a wiki, you'll feel quite at home. If you've done any editing on a virtual school, or if you've done any editing of your school's portal site, or if you're dabbling with SharePoint 2010 and school's public sites, you'll feel very at home. Again, it's very similar. But site settings controls a lot of the things that happen in the background. So think of it, site settings as being the control panel. And when we click on this, we see 5 columns. Many of these columns you will never go into. I'm obviously not going to be able to go into detail on all of these. I'm just going to touch on 1 or 2. But you have a mentor in your district, which again would be more than happy to contact them to help you navigate these areas. And at the end of this presentation, if Jeff is so kind to put my Smart Notebook presentation up, along with the video that he's going to post on Tech20Tuesday's wiki, there is a page where I reference information that I've used and sites that I think might be helpful with tutorials. So getting back to look and feel, this is a site. This is probably the column that you're going to spend most of the time in. And site theme is one of the ones that you can go into. And by clicking on site theme, you have a little sort of what was a text box here with different themes, color themes, font themes that you can click through, and you see like a little instant preview. And if you choose one of them, like say if I go with plastic, for example, which is quite different from the current theme I have. And if I choose, if I want that, all I have to do is click apply. The page is going to take a moment to reload. And when it reloads, my new settings have been applied. So that's a quick way to change the look. And sometimes I like changing the default theme from the My Profile theme. You can't control the site theme in My Profile. And it's just the default one. And I like separating the look of My Home and My Profile, so I'm not accidentally doing something that I think is going to be a private edit or a private document, and I'm actually on My Profile and adding it there. So I like to keep the two looking quite different. And if I click on My Profile, you'll see that there is quite a difference between the two now. But again, going back to the site settings, again, that was under site theme. And you can do things like in here, like change the icon up here. You can change that by adding an image into your private image area and linking it. Again, this is something that a mentor in your district or a knowledgeable staff person at your school would be able to help you with. I can change the title of my site, which is this area here. So I can turn it back. And click OK. And again, now it's changed. Something a little more friendly. In here, we can do things like control people in groups so that people can view, maybe if you created a subsite and you want to invite people into that subsite area, like members only. If you have a work group or if it's a student, they have a study group, this is where they would go to control things. For the most part, you're not going to be getting into these areas here. And if you do mostly, again, it's something that if you're ever in doubt, if you're spending more than a couple of minutes trying to figure something out, I would suggest go on a link or Communicator if your district doesn't have a link installed yet, and search out your mentor for assistance. So again, if I go create, let's see, edit page. So I've changed the site theme, I've changed the title of my site, and now when I click edit page, I'm in edit mode. So this bar has opened up. And you'll see that there's certain web part zones. And I like web parts because you have the ability to maneuver. It's kind of like if you think of Google, they use widgets, Blogger widgets. It's the same thing. You can click and drag and move objects around the page. So you can change the layout quite quickly and easily. If you look to add a web part, you just click add a web part, and then you can scroll through the web parts that you have access to. And it, by default, is going to show things like whatever libraries you have created. So if I want to put what documents I'm sharing, click add, it's going to insert a web part that displays these are the documents that I've marked to share. And it's going to be the same thing that you're going to see when I click over to my profile. I also could add just the documents that I share privately. So think of, and I know I'm kind of going on a little too long on this particular tab, but think of My Home as your personalized start page. Not unlike iGoogle is set for your start page, or some people set the portal to be their start page, but you can think of My Home, that tab under My Site as being your start page, where you can customize. You could have RS feeds from your school site. You could have, hello Chris, you could have feeds from your favorite websites pulled in to get your updates, Twitter feeds, share documents. Again, one-stop shopping for you to start your day. You can also go through these web parts and add your inbox through Outlook. You can add your calendar through Outlook. So again, you can have a dashboard sort of set up for starting your day. So that's kind of, and then when you're done, all you have to do is click exit edit mode, and it saves your changes, and it's immediately kind of set in stone until next time you edit. So that again is a summary of the My Home tab. And if we go back to kind of little slides here, let's see, so next. So next, again, we talked about this being the public view. It's kind of like an elaborate business card, is one way to think about it, the My Profile tab, in that it's going to give you some basic information. Again, I'll take you there because I know this is kind of hard to read, but up here is kind of like my business card. And I can edit some of this information, and some of it is pulled from Active Directory. And you'd have to contact the province basically to get any sort of errors corrected. Okay, Tim, see you later. And it provides some contact information down here that you can specify. There's a neat thing here where it shows the organizational hierarchy. So it shows that Michael Welton, being my great boss, and who's the other mentors underneath Michael's supervision, myself, Tim Lukey, and Philip Squeezy, and it shows us in relation to each other. So that's interesting. Some other things that we see are, and again, most of this is by default. Again, I'll show you in a moment how you can edit some of that information. Over here, this is by default also with the ability to do some managing, I guess you would say. You can't delete out these areas, but you can filter them a little bit. It will show any distribution lists that you're connected to in part of the Active Directory. And it will also show what? Phil, I can't control that. You're being a tad paranoid. The distribution list, and then the SharePoint sites. The SharePoint sites, again, it will automatically, as soon as you're added as a member via permission on a site, it will appear here. So people can come here and see what do they share in common with you. In this area up here, I'll show you in a moment in a student view, it will show you when you go to someone else's My Site, if there's anything that you have in common. So are you a member of the same organization? Are you involved in the same distribution groups? Are you involved in the same SharePoint sites? It will actually show you in this area. And of course, I'm visiting my own, so it's not showing that. But it will show you this here. So that's kind of, again, one of those ways that it helps you. It's have some social interaction developing and your ability to create contacts maybe you weren't aware of, or you might find out something about a coworker that you didn't know before that again spurs some more collaboration. So other things you can do here, share links, maybe the favorite sites that you have. Over here, you'll notice that, remember before where I had, actually I'm just going to switch for a moment out of this and go to the actual sites. I know it's hard to see that little screenshot. Go to my profile. Again, I'll scroll down here. Maybe I'll just decrease the, I'll increase the font size a little bit. Now here's my shared documents, and it's showing on my site. Now, someone can correct me, but a few years ago, I don't remember this being an option to have categories built into the shared documents, and that and this would be the same for a student, in that it would show all the documents that that student wishes to share, and it would tell you where they're located. I'm seconded from Island View, so there would be some documents under the Island View tab that are present on the Island View site that I've opened to share that within provincially, so that you can view them. I also belong to, again, some more, these are all the SharePoint groups where I have documents. So by clicking on any of those, you can view what documents that I'm sharing. I think that's a pretty cool feature. And again, if I go under properties to any of these, this document I just uploaded today, and I'll talk about how I did that with a certain feature. But when I click properties, I can go into edit the item, and I can do things like change file name, and I can delete the item. And I'm pretty sure, check here. I think it's, I'll go back in a moment into my home, and I think I can change from there the status. If it's a private document, if I move it into my private folder out of the public folder. I'm just going to click back to my profile. 2 minutes to wrap up. Wow, I talk. Wow. Great, thank you, Jeff. Okay, I'll spin through. I'll just jump back and I'll go through some notes. Okay, again, key difference, my profile, you are not the administrator, but you can edit and manage some information. By default, contact information, organizational hierarchy, membership sites, links, shared documents, and your colleagues are shown on your forward-facing public view. And again, public doesn't mean everyone, only those logged into the board. Student view, I'll come back to that if I have time. Some things to remember, storage on my site. You have 100 megs. Again, that's across the province. Upload, you can upload a file to the size of 50 megs. And remember that due to the fact that the portal based on SharePoint 2007 is a Microsoft Office product, that means that there is an integration between Link or Communicator. There is a link between Outlook, Microsoft, PowerPoint, Excel, InfoPath, all those items. You can actually save documents from Word, for example, to your My Site from the actual application itself without the need to log into your My Site. Again, that's something that Mentor in your district I know would love to show you. My links, sorry, but I won't have enough time to go into it. But basically, when we go back to logging into the portal, once you've logged in, right beside My Site is My Links. My Links is a great organizational tool. It is the third part of the My Site. And what it does is allows you to, one, it automatically, by default, shows you all the links that you have, quick links, jump to sites that you're a member of. You can also add by navigating to, say, if you navigated to my profile page on My Site, you can then go up to My Links and go add to My Links page. And it would add a bookmark, a favorite, within the portal. That anytime you're logged into the portal, you can access that bookmark. So if you found a great resource, it took a long time to get to, bookmark it, come back here again, and you don't have to go trying to find it through the menu systems or under the collaborative sites. It takes a while to load. And the last couple of things before our session is up, anything I kind of talked about today, some of it's based on my own knowledge, all of the others have been based on these different sites to give some SharePoint, Microsoft has great tutorials. There's a nice YouTube video here that does an overview similar to what I just talked about. And a specific one down here, that's a nice one, the last one on my sites. Some references to some SlideShare and Microsoft information I read over today to help you do this presentation. If you have any specific information or questions for me that we don't have time for today, you can reach me on link, mark.bates. Also, email. Twitter is a great way to get a hold of me. You can reach me at ArmABates. And that's my professional Twitter account. And also I'm a member of the T8 Technology Mentors account. And also check us out on YouTube. That's my little plug for T8.
Good after. So thank you so much, Mark. That was, it's almost unfair to try to get you to tell us in 20 minutes or some short amount of time all the things that the portal can do. It really is such a multi-dimensional and powerful tool that we have. So thank you so much for giving a stab at it.
Well, thanks for giving me an opportunity.
So if you're looking for more information on the portal, and as you can see, Mark walked us through, and I know he just scratched the surface of all the potential in there. If you're looking for more information, you can talk to one of your local technology mentors in your local district, or you can, as Mark said, give him a dingle either through email or through Twitter or on one of the other tools many tools that are available to connect with him. So once again, Mark, thank you for joining us.
Great, thanks.
And we will see you all again next week when we're going to continue our look at the portal. And so we're going to have a look at some of the other tools on there. Mary Jo McCrae from the department is slated to be our guest. We'll see you all again next week, and thank you for joining us in Tech 20 Tuesday.